This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas.
See what happens when I mute myself? All kinds of things happen. Hey, it's Brian Sebastian, movie reviews and more. And yes, we are live in Tennessee. So I never know when I'm on the road, when I'm at someone else's house, how everything is going to go. And then I just go into wing it mode at that point, which is always plan B, C, D, and E, and F. However, if it's live on always Tuesday, it's always Giving Tuesday, first of all. So we always want to give to our favorite charities, no matter what they may be. For us, the Dream River Arts and the Dream River Artist Ranch. So after that, we were always live on Talk 4 Media, K4 HD Radio, Talk 4 Media, and streaming on over 100 outlets around the world. And with that, we're also streaming on iTunes 247. I have to mention that because we wouldn't be here in Tennessee if it weren't for Jimmy Adams and Country Box and all of that. So we're doing, I could say this, we're kicking ass and all of that stuff like that. So I've been looking forward to the show because I knew I was going to be on the road, but I didn't know how the connection or anything was going to be, which is always dicey. As the girls know, when you're using technology, it's great when it works. It sucks when it doesn't work, as we all know. And Michael, I'm sure you know the same thing when it comes to directing. When you're using your still camera and you're using your video camera, not the same thing. But the hero is this. We've got to talk about Country Box because at the Troubadour in Nashville right now is where music meets boxing. And I say all of this off the top of my head because I hate to use notes because I never know what's going to go on. So when it comes to all these things like that, go on down, see Jimmy Adams, tell him Brian sent you. He might let you in for free, but it will be sold out, but he still might let you in for free. But when it comes to all of that, it's about where music meets boxing, and that's a great thing. So I got to start off because I like this young lady. She makes me laugh. You know, she's that neuro coach. She's that international, and, you know, I want to say best-selling author, and I can't remember, but she is that speaker. She is that consultant. She does a lot of things, and I just love her brain. And I love their podcast, Unleashed and Unstoppable, that she's one of the co-hosts and founders on. And with that, it's always about seeing how everything works. You know, if you've got that wisdom and you've got that podcast that's always in the top 10% of podcasts, that's a great thing. That's what caught my attention, and I hope it catches your attention. And I was honored to be on the show, the one and only Carol Register. And with that, I met her co-host recently, and that was fun because not only was she from Canada, but I loved her energy. And talk about another brainiac, and I could say that, Lianne, because I love this. When you're like that and you're that, okay, I'm going to say that neuro hacker, that expert performance-neuro coach, and it'll come to me. Hold on, it's coming. It's all about erasing and replacing those old negative thoughts. And that's a great thing, whether it's in your life, in your business, or anything else. You can't go wrong without that. And so, Lianne Carter. And that's a fun thing. And I suggest those people out there in the audience, you get a chance, reach out to them. See if they'll invite you on the podcast, because it's fun to do. Now, when it comes to the world of singing, this young lady, she's been kicking butt around the world, whether it's in Ireland, whether she's on, appearing in Florida on, one of the shows out there. I remember when we had her on last year for Bingo Baby, I didn't know how hot this young lady was. Who knew? But when you've got 1 million streams on your Bingo Baby, and it's number 2 on Amazon when it comes to the music of everything like that, you can't go wrong with that. And so this thing, and I was just listening to it, Hearts Up. So if you're writing it on an airplane, yes, see, There's so much to remember. That's why I don't like to use notes and everything like that, because I never know who's going to really make it on. But when you're writing this on a plane, isn't that interesting when it comes to that? That part I remember, Ashley. So it's all about Ashley Paul. It's all about where she's performing. It's all about really that international audience, which I think she really kicks ass at. And you can't go wrong with that. And then we're going to try to show a clip of that later. And then Dances with Films is coming up in the next couple of weeks. One of my favorite film festivals last year was the only film festival that was crowded. Every theater was sold out. Latino Film Festival, Jewish Film Festival, Greek Film Festival, AFI, none of them have that. So Michael, congratulations on getting your short in, because I liked your short. It was very interesting. And, you know, that's a great thing. So I'm going to leave Nashville and run all the way back for the last 2 nights of Dances with Films, because we have one that we talked about, The Man Who Saved the Internet. Remember that film, Howard? I'm going back to meet him and to see what we can do with that next. So he not only is a great photographer, editorial, his work has appeared in Google, Time, you name it, New York Times, everything like that. And then he turned his sights to being behind the camera, which is really fascinating. If you got that eye like Annie Lennox has, and everything like that, you can't go wrong with what Michael has created, and we'll show his trailer later. And then from Brentwood, California, I should say Brentwood, Tennessee. See, this is Brentwood, California and Brentwood, Tennessee. But Howard Wiggins, when you're that royalty and your dad's created the Grand Ole Opry with Eddie Arnold, you can't go wrong, because it's CMA week down here. So everybody in the world of country music is here. We've even got John Bon Jovi here. I'll even talk about classic Southern Right. I'm not supposed to talk about it, but I am, because I'm going to be heavily involved with it later. We'll talk about that and connect it to Ashley Paul's music later. So with that, I got to kick this all off. So I want to start with Ashley first. Ashley, let's talk about your music. Why are you so hot right now? But you've been hot for the last couple of years. And I recognize your music, but I didn't know it was yours until I started to deep dive into it more. Congratulations on what you've done on just on one song, 1 million streams, because 1 million is 1 million. But talk about your new one, and talk about when you're on that plane writing that, because that's important.
You know, I knew I had this incredible co-write opportunity with Lucas Marks in Los Angeles, and I had gotten this incredible dance track from Love Foundation UK, who I'm working with, collaborating with on a lot of my music right now. So we're writing together. They're amazing. And the track alone was filled with so much depth and so many different kinds of instruments and sounds and synths and melodies in the synths. I mean, it was just, when I heard the track, I honestly felt like this could be the best track I ever write on in my career. That's how I felt. It was so enormous. So with all that information, I get on the plane to come back to LA to do the co-write. And I was thinking, gosh, what's inspiring me right now that I want to write about? And so putting those thoughts aside, as I was about to take off, actually upon takeoff, I felt butterflies in my belly. I felt my heart tearing a little bit, like expanding and tearing at the same time. And so I felt vulnerable. And I looked up into the air, like I often do when I feel afraid or I need guidance. And I looked up into the universe and I saw all these hearts in the air. And then I felt like I was throwing them into the air, and that they would somehow come back and protect me. So all that love that I was putting up was going to come back to help me in my life and to help me get over my fear. So then I heard hearts up in the air, and the flight was a night flight. So it was like hearts up in the air tonight. So that was it, right? So then the minute I got on Wi-Fi, I started writing down the hook, and I started texting Love Foundation UK. I'm like, I found it. I got the inspiration for the song, you know? And that's literally how it happened. And then I started writing a lot of other little, sometimes I'll write 2 words together, you know, as different ideas for the verse and for the storyline and whatnot. And then I went into the studio with Lucas Marks, and we went back and forth on my idea of Hearts Up in the Air Tonight, and talking about finding love, and love being really the most important thing in the entire world that saves us all from everything, you know? And yeah, and we just did it. You know, we went back and forth, and he's so talented. You know, he would play a chord, and he would say, okay, what melody do you hear? And I would say, well, I hear this, and then he would say, well, I like that, but how about adding this? And it was just such an amazing collaboration. And I don't know, we did it, and then 2 hours we were done. I recorded it right there, and we were out, and that was it. And I remember, you know, leaving the studio and getting in the car and thinking, oh my God, what just happened? This song I was like, I felt like I was in a dream. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're like, what did I just do? You know what I mean? It was that intense.
You know, you songwriters fascinate me. I couldn't write a song to save my life. But you know, it's one of the best award shows that I've ever been to, because you get a chance to see what it's like with those songwriters. And so, Ashley, you know about this. We're going to be at the AppScup Awards that are putting out for Bernie Talbot, and Howard's coming with me as my guest because he's here. He's Nashville royalty, so I want him to see this. I don't even know who the guest list is, but I'm waiting for him. I should get it like any minute, and I'm waiting to see who's there. But when you have Bernie Talbot there, you know, Elton John's writing partner, you know it's going to be classic with all the stuff. And so we met with their creators that we've been putting on his art the last 10 years. Me and Morelia Howard, we were there. So I can't wait to talk about this. I'm going to talk about it at the end of the show. But, you know, I wanted to go over to the neuro hacks and the neuro coach women, because when you got this, I'm thinking of when you got someone like an Ashley Paul or a Michael, when it comes to the writers, I am not a writer. I am not a songwriter, but I admire the hell out of what these people can create just by looking at the stars or being on a plane. That's interesting to me. Now, and at that point, we go into your world, why people create things. So, Carol, I got to start with you first. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I love this. I love this so much. The cool thing is creativity is so powerful. Healing occurs in the creative part of the brain. And the interesting thing about it is you are creative in ways you just aren't even realizing, Brian. I know you, I know what you do, and that creativity just expresses itself in its own unique way versus what Ashley's doing with songwriting and singing. Love that story. I love that story about how the song just came together and flowed out of you. It's really beautiful. And yeah, so I love the way creativity causes healing in our brains.
It really does. May I interject on what you're saying?
I would love that.
I had to write a song a couple weeks later to a new track, and the day before I was going in, I was a little down. I was a little sad, and I wanted to think of all the things in the world that would make me feel grateful or, you know, gratitude. And I was looking at how gorgeous the sky was that day. So beautiful in LA, the blue. It was like 3 different shades of blue, you know. And I thought, gosh, if I could move through those clouds, through that blue, right? And I took that line and I used it in my next song. And I wrote, moving through the bluest sky, I won't be the one waiting for the night. And it was like that feeling I had, and it healed me, like you're saying.
Yeah, I love that.
I felt healed from trying to find gratitude.
It sounds like you have this beautiful gift of being able to see and experience, tap into the beauty around you, which is so special. I mean, and that's part of the reason that I know, Brian, you have Dreamweaver Arts, because to support those who are creative and have those gifts and abilities. And it's so powerful and important for us to be able to see those things and experience them. And Alex, Lianne, I just, you know, it reminds me too, right now we're looking at so much in the quantum field, and we're all connected. We are absolutely all connected. And how cool is that when we're each expressing our unique gifts and talents in the ways that they flow through us, that we're actually impacting one another through that experience. Yeah, I love that.
Hey, Carol, tell them who you are, a little bit of your background, followed by Mike, followed by Alex Lianne. Go ahead.
Okay. So I am a certified neurocoach along with Alex Lianne, and I also am a serial entrepreneur, multi-international podcaster, speaker, co-host. Love doing our show with Alex Lianne, and we share all about the neuroscience of leadership and wealth, primarily to high achievers, CEOs, leaders, business owners, and anybody who wants to be. I know when I found out that I was a leader, somebody called me a leader for the first time, which I know you'll speak about, Alex. I was like shocked. I'm a leader? I'm a what? I had no idea. We lead our lives every day, so we talk about that.
And Mike, got to bring you in for this. Talk about you being that, having that eye, and then taking that eye, that world-class eye that you have with behind the clients that you created and worked with, and then putting it behind the scenes and making a couple short films, because you're an award winner. Talk about that aspect of things.
Well, I've been an editorial photographer for magazines for about 12 or 13 years now. Print media is not exactly thriving these days. But I'm really grateful. I've had so many pretty amazing experiences. I've gotten to travel the world, and I've done kind of a huge mix of work where I've done a lot of documentary work in the Middle East, and then I've also shot a lot of like celebrity portraits for magazines, and so I've kind of seen a lot of things. But I really started to want to have more authorship, because in magazines it's like you get brought in as a photographer, you get brought in after the story is already written. I'd always kind of secretly wanted to make films, but it felt like something that was kind of like impossible. And then I kind of started meeting people who were doing it, and so started writing, and it's taken a long time. I started writing probably 6 or 7 years ago, and started slowly kind of directing things, and it is very different than still photography. It uses some of the same muscles, but it's definitely been a huge learning experience, and it's been humbling learning how to direct narrative stuff, kind of coming from a still photography background. But I feel like I'm kind of finally 6 or 7 years later getting in the groove.
Wow. I think that's so cool. I've been actually learning about production, Michael, which is super interesting. And I really had no idea about how much of the business acumen is involved, like especially with like the financing that goes along with executive production and things like this. It's been a real interesting learning curve for me right now.
Yeah, I think filmmaking is probably the most expensive art medium you can kind of get into. It's gotten cheaper, it's become sort of exponentially more accessible for sure, but that's been, even on a big photo shoot, like a huge commercial photo shoot, I might have a 10-person crew, and the 10-person crew on a film is tiny, that's kind of nothing. So the scale of it can be daunting, but it's fun to collaborate with other people. It also feels less lonely than photography in certain ways, because you get the people who are good at these very specific jobs, and then let them bring what they have to the table, which is really fun.
Yeah.
Alex Lee here. Oh, go ahead, Ashley. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I'm just saying I agree with you. It's so much better to collaborate with people. I thrive in that kind of environment.
Yeah.
You get out of your head, and you really help each other and learn from each other. So I agree.
Well, what I was gonna add, I always like to sit back and sort of listen and hear what's going on, because, with the neuro perspective of hearing what you're creating, Ashley and Mike, what you're creating, there's two things that you guys have in common. So for those listening, is that you both have a very powerful vision, right? And you're really clear in your vision of what you're committed to creating, all the actions and what you decisions you make really impacts the result that you create. And then you both also talked about partnerships and collaboration, right? And we look at leaders, and a lot of times leadership, and the big stand that I have is leadership can be seen or be told that it's lonely at the top, but really when we're lone wolfing it, that's what leads to burnout. And so I love, Mike and Ashley are both talking about how you're working collaboration. I mean, Brian, Sebastian, like that's what you've been able to create with everything. And that's why it's so beautiful to even share the Unleashable podcast with Carol, because it's really busting through the myths and the societal norms of like leadership and what it's supposed to be and all this creation piece. And, really there is a leader in each and every single one of us. And so my background is working with little leaders in the schools and in education and all the way up to the college students I work with, as well as a business with business technology. And it's just standing for that, right? Like the greatness of every single body, and you have a strong vision and you can work with the brain and understand why is our brain blocking us and keeping us safe to be able to, identify, neutralize, erase, and then replace the thoughts that don't serve the visions we want to create. And so we can create those visions and the lives, that we're here to enjoy, right? It gets to be fun. And that's what I hear, like, Ashley, you're enjoying, Mike, you're having fun. And yeah, I'd love to hear more from you, Howard, and get to know you a little bit more too, to see how being a leader in your life has created opportunities for yourself and just embodying a lot of those leadership distinctions of what you've been able to create. So,
and we got to say hi to our Heartland with Women in Film and Television, one of the co-founders, Dawn Brasher, so Dawn Sunshine. That's who's been one of the ladies that's been popping up. So from Knoxville, Tennessee, I will see them Saturday for their kickoff for their Women in Film and Television Summit. So Howard, if your sound is okay, all right, tell them who you are, what you're wearing, and what room you're in today.
Howard is in a kind of 1960 mode today with porcelain bow tie and hat, but I've got a new thing I want to tell and launch all today. I've got a new style of interior design, and I call it stacked and layered, because maximalist is on its way in, and all this color and people are scared of. It's nothing to be scared about color. I could go out and pick flowers randomly, come home and arrange them in a vase. All colors go with all colors. It's just a matter of arranging them in a proper way. So every week I kind of want to talk a little bit about design and talk about my new stacked and layered look, which is a new term I'm giving it, because I noticed around the house I did like 3 pedestals underneath one arrangement and stacked them up together. And I instantly got like 300 hits, like really quick, because nobody's ever done that as far as I've known before. So, and I looked around the house, and everything I have, I stack my art. I have art that goes all the way down to the floor. And then I got a sculpture in front of that. I love to shop, and I've done it all my life, but my place is small. So I just keep adding and adding and adding. But I also feel like the same thing's true, like when you go to a nice restaurant. It's got atmosphere, it's darkly lit, it's calming, it's the lighting that makes you feel moody and relaxed, and food for the eye. You're entertaining yourself by what you're looking at. And I tell, the trend now is to go all white, and there's nothing wrong with all white, except once you've got it, it's over with. And you've got to keep entertaining your eye to do something. I also tell people, think of a cafeteria. If you go to a cafeteria, it's brightly lit, it's usually white, and they want you in and out. They don't want to make it relaxing. You go to an upper class restaurant, it's dark, it's moody, it's lighting, you relax, it's more inviting. So I just want to bring that into my design element and bring that to the world.
Hey, Howard, let them know who you are, what your background is also. I have to always remind him these things. He's country royalty.
Well, Little Roy Wiggins played. You mentioned it at the beginning. Little Roy Wiggins plays the guitar with Eddie Arnold, and all my life I ate Christmas dinner with Eddie Arnold, Many Girl, and our house growing up was like a little nightclub in the basement. So Perry Como would be there, Andy Griffin would be there. There'd be all these stars that I knew when I was growing up. Of course, I was a kid. They were just friends of my parents. I didn't really realize in life who they were until later. I got a chance to meet Agnes Moorehead, not always country. I mean, there was a lot of Hollywood stars too that would come, but Peggy Lee was another one I met. So you just don't know. I
hear you like to dance
2 or 3.
too.
Anybody? Oh, yeah. away from anybody. Yeah, of course I love to dance. That's what keeps me young. I'm an old man, but I just don't act it. So
Yeah, he's and then so what room are you in, Howard?
it's the guest bedroom. It's the guest bedroom. So
Don't let that fool
collected
you.
cameos.
He's in a mansion. He's only been in one room twice since he's been on our show. Don't let that fool you.
No.
I love that. I was an interior decorator in a former life. I've had 9 lives, and I absolutely can relate to what you're saying and love, like I have a small place now and have used my books as art. They're stacked all the way up to the ceiling. They're my sculptures.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I love books as art. I think that's so beautiful.
And
that's what it should
old
be.
luggage and
it should be a personal thing. It shouldn't be what's in at the moment. I think the very best homes are one that looks acquired throughout time and doesn't look like one season. Doesn't look like 2025 when 2030 hits. So you do that by just adding little touches all the time to keep it updated, but yet make it change. Like a wardrobe. You're gonna add a few things. You don't get rid of everything. You keep what you love and you add to make it look a little better. Same thing with a house.
Like hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
I love antiques.
Yeah, he does actually.
Yeah, I do too.
Hey, Michael, talk about your eye. What is special about your eye when it came to your photography? And then I want to show little people about this interesting trailer that you created also.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you have a better eye than me." I think I've just taken 100,000 more photos than most people. I think anybody can really like develop how they see things. It's just now it's less costly, although in some ways maybe it was better when it was more costly because we thought through things more with film. But I shot a lot of photos. I always joke that I just the difference between me and an amateur is I throw more photos away, and it's like not untrue. It's like when I go into a situation, people are always shocked at how many photos you're shooting. Last week I was photographing a person for the New Yorker magazine, and they were like, we shot for an hour, which doesn't seem like that long, but we did like 6 different setups, and and he was like, how many of these are they going to use? And I'm like, 1. And so a lot of the eye is in the editing. It's the same in film too. It's really like editing is the thing that really kind of helps me, especially when I was like shooting a still story. It was like it's how you want things to be. I think as a photographer I started out on shooting film, and so it's funny because it makes me feel old, but I was shooting magazine assignments on all film for a long time, and it was more costly, and you had to make stronger decisions because you can't just shoot 10,000 photos. And there was a cost to pushing the shutter, and so I found that my style was a little more formal a lot of the time. And I also, when I was doing portraits, I really, really like being right up in people's faces. I don't know why. It's kind of instinctual. Like I really shoot close. Like I find like sometimes photo editors at magazines a lot of the time are like, do you have anything pulled back? And it's like everything is like I'm like in, and I think I like that intimacy and kind of rawness. Even my studio portraits are a little more raw. They're not as like retouched, and what I like about shooting portraits is that you get this kind of there's a vulnerable exchange between the photographer and the subject, and it's uncomfortable, and I think as a filmmaker I think I'm still developing a style, but it's funny because I find myself drawn to comedy even though I've like been this quote unquote serious photographer, and a lot of it's kind of darker, but I stylistically it's been a learning experience, like turning the camera over to somebody else, letting a DP do their job, which is tricky. I used to fight with DPs a lot when I was starting out because it's like, I had too many opinions and they're like, you shoot it. And, now like I've realized like that they, that's a very specific job. And I think that talking through the style and stuff is what helps kind of before you do things. But like with this short film, we really wanted it. It's about an insurance salesman who has a very ho-hum job in an office, and we wanted it to feel stylistically like very, for lack of a better word, gross. We used the overhead lights. I mean, we augmented them, but we wanted to be able to kind of point the camera in any direction in the office. And so we went in the day before and, basically changed all of the overheads so that they were usable. And we wanted to feel that overhead light, the like gross shadows under people's eyes, the sort of green feel of that like office overhead light, which is so unhuman. Yes.
Yeah.
It's inhuman.
Fluorescent, right? Yeah. Lighting. Yeah.
And
all right, Rebel, let's take a look. Let's take a look at what he's talking about.
Yeah.
We are on a rock, hurtling around a star, going about 1,000,000 miles an hour in this eternally expanding abyss with 250 billion stars filling up our galaxy, with another 100 billion galaxies filling up our universe. And you have the nerve to sit here and eat microwaved broccoli.
Now, what makes this film interesting is anytime you can get into Dances with Films, it's an Oscar qualifying film festival for one, but they have some of the best independent artists and films that I've ever seen. And so I can never stop talking about it. Once I start talking about a film, I'm talking about it for pretty much the rest of my life. And I saw some great Immediate Family. Actually, you'll like this. That Denny Tedesco did, and what he did, they're the only 5 musicians who've played in sessions with everybody from the Beach Boys, Mama and Papa, and all those people like that, but actually have gone on the road with them. So Leland Sklar, he's one of our, the bassist for Phil Collins. He's played with everybody from James Taylor, Linda Ronstadt, Carol Day, all of them back in the day. They're all still friends. And so to have them come on and be friends with movie reviews and more, that makes me happy. Russ Tuco, a bunch of them. He did Glenn Fry's album, All She Wants to Do Is Dance. These guys created all of these things, and you can see it on Amazon Prime. It's a really good documentary, and for Denny's first film was The Wrecking Crew, based on his dad, who played drum sets for everybody, again, the Beach Boys, Glenn Campbell, all of these people. It was called The Wall of Sound. Phil Spector, all those people played on that, called The Wrecking Crew. And that's what made it fascinating. But with the eyes, see, so I saw the close-up now. Now I know what you were talking about, Mike.
Yeah, it's funny. People are probably more confused after seeing that. It's very hard to cut a trailer for an 8-minute short film. But I wrote this film after talking about kind of art healing us, or at least trying to deal with things. I read an article about the size of the universe at like 6 a.m. One morning while sitting on the toilet, not to be crass, and just had, and intellectually, I think I understood how big the universe was. But then this article really, like, for some reason, it all hit me at once, and it just felt like the floor was falling out from under me. Like I just had this existential meltdown. It was like, what is the point of anything? We're so small. And I wrote it, a few years ago, and I kind of wrote this, and then, during kind of a slow period, my DP was like, what do you have? Like, let's go shoot something. And I dug it up, and everybody kind of, you could tell when a script works if, when you show, like, immediately you could tell people the idea, and if they get it, you can like tell before you've even ever showed them a script. It's like, and it's basically about an insurance salesman who reads an article about the size of the universe and has a meltdown, and storms out of the office and goes on a kind of psychedelic journey, and to hopefully find a little bit of peace, kind of in his place in the world.
That trailer was very impactful, I thought.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a silly idea about a huge topic, which is kind of the way I like to attack things.
The
Yeah.
food when he was the actor
Yeah.
was eating, it was just like
Microwave
good.
broccoli.
yeah, it was very
Yes.
cool, very artistic. I
And
loved
the
it.
contrast of this huge subject with the, munching on that broccoli and the
Right,
green light
broccoli
and
in the
everything.
dark, right?
Yeah.
I loved it. Really.
See, and I got that right away, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, he's talking about the universe." Because you know how I go to sleep at night. The way my Carol and Alex, Lianne, my brain works is I have to watch the universe to calm me down. So I go, "Oh, he's talking about what I see every night." I automatically like it. But here's the thing about this: it's not easy to get a film into a film festival. It is not. All the films that they have to screen, and I used to have to do this, and I still do this for certain people. Ryan, what do you think of this film? Because they send me links throughout the day. They're sending me links now to watch as we're on the show. So, and I'm a movie whore, so I watch through all that stuff. So congratulations on getting in there. It's not easy. I don't think you know how many films they go through, especially short films. It could be 1,000 films. It could be 100 films. So the fact that you were chosen, please don't take it for granted. And congratulations on it. It's a great film festival.
Thank you. Yeah,
So,
we're excited. It
you
has
in-
such a good reputation.
Production for the longer version?
This is talking about the business of filmmaking. I did a stupid thing where I don't think there is a longer version. It's very self-contained film. Like you'll see. I could share the link with everybody after this, but of a private link. But everyone's like, "Oh, you have the longer." I did write a feature for my main actor Lehigh, who plays the main character, and he's a wonderful actor, and I've written him a feature, and we're gearing up to hopefully start shooting this fall. Again, we're kind of using this festival run to try and raise money and get that going, because he's a hilarious actor. He was just in that new Taika Waititi movie, Next Goal Wins, which is about the Samoan national soccer team. He plays the goalkeeper.
It's a great film.
Yeah, it's fun.
That sounds awesome.
Michael,
I just want to say on the neuroscience side, Brian, that the comedy is so important. We get overly serious, and Alex Lianne just was reminding me today. She's like, "What are you doing to celebrate? What are you doing to have fun?" Because when we're wanting to grow and change, it's so important to reward our brains in the same way that our brains reward us to stay stuck. So it's one of the tools we use to grow. So I love that it's a comedy. I'm actually really excited to see it.
Well, it's funny because I really like my automatic was always like, "How did you celebrate, Mike? Like, this is amazing." Like, it's amazing what you created. And I even saw in your face. So that's good. Like, you even were like, "Yeah, we're really taking time to celebrate." So I think it's always important. It's so easy, as Carol said, to just get caught in the day to day and all the things. And it's just like to really take that moment and really take it into like, wow, like it's a huge accomplishment. So congratulations. And yeah, definitely take a way to celebrate, and really like this, we did this, like, look what we created. So
this is why I don't use notes, because these two neuro hacks and experts took my next question again. Because I was going to ask Ashley, how did you celebrate? And the young ladies, which is why I like them, took it out of my mouth already. So,
That's
Ashley,
so
how did you celebrate? How did you celebrate when you got 1 million streams?
I have to be honest, I didn't. I just said, what do I need to do next for the next track? I need to keep going. I need to keep, creating. And when Hearts Up came out, like a week later, we were put on the BBC Introducing, which is so hard to get. And that's like Radio 1 in the UK. So like national radio for the UK, BBC Introducing. Wow. And they listened to like 400,000 tracks a month, I think. And they played it, and they said it was like a world-class house track. Sorry, I have to say it. See, that's my way of celebrating. I'm saying the part that makes me feel proud. There you go.
Yay! Yeah.
But
what do we always say? Alex and I always say, like, high achievers, we're always like, goal, next, goal, next.
Yeah, I feel gratitude, and then I'm like, okay, I have to show my gratitude by doing it again. I know maybe that's totally wrong, but that's I feel.
But that's priming. Like, that's exactly the story. That's your brain's telling you. That's the story, right? Of like, oh, this is what I have to do. That's what I heard you say, right? And so you get to celebrate, Ashley, even if it's just with us. Even sometimes it doesn't have to be these massive things, but even just like Mike, I saw your face light up, which to me is like enough to celebrate. I see you, Ashley, like, yeah, this lights me up. Like, it's okay to get excited about what you're doing, right? So please share it with us.
No, but you actually, this is the first time I've celebrated, so thank you.
Oh, congratulations.
Yay.
Good for you.
Congratulations.
Love that.
So Ashley, we're gonna celebrate by showing a little bit of clip of your song then. How's that?
Oh, wow. That's exciting.
I'll get dinged for it, but you know what? It is Hearts Up.
Yes.
Baby, we're so magnetic. I'm never lonely in your company. Your face so poetic. I'm living in your prophecy. I'm living in your dream. I'm living in your dream. Darkness and daylight, you know that you circle my sun.
I see Howard dancing to
I
this
can dance to
automatically.
that. Yeah.
I know you can.
Yeah.
Actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to make a short clip of Howard dancing. Every time I do that, he gets, I kid you not, he gets thousands and thousands of views, whether it's 9 seconds or 20 seconds.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And they're still clicking on, and I don't know why, but they like Howard dancing.
Well, it's dance music, so go for it.
It was dance music. I was dancing when it was not on the screen, so had a good beat.
See, he's excited.
The video will be out tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh,
We get to
wow.
celebrate you,
Awesome.
Ashley. Your video's gonna be out tomorrow.
Congratulations. Yeah. Absolutely.
See, this is how it will go. Michael will shoot you real close, like he usually does. Howard will be your dancer. Your video comes out tomorrow. And Alex, Lianne, and Carol will be there interviewing you. And I'm just going to sit back and just say, what's next? Celebrating. All right, we got a couple minutes left. Ashley, why do people like your music outside the U.S. also? Because you got a huge following, which I didn't know it was that big.
Thank you. You know, I don't know. I mean, I think I had a start because in the late 80s, early 90s, I had some songs out in Europe when Boys Cry was a Billboard hit, and then was in the UK and parts of Germany and Denmark. And I think like I developed a little bit of a following back then, but and then I had a few more songs after that out in Europe, but then I didn't have anything else out for a while. So when I returned and started writing again, it was almost like with some of the DJs all over Europe, it was almost like a reunion. Does that make sense?
Yes,
it's
it
like,
does, actually.
Right. And it was such an outpouring from my heart of wanting to write and keep writing. And I'm still writing and I can't stop. That's just where I've been with the dance music. You know, I wrote very sad songs for a little while, but those didn't go over very well.
Get out of here. Every sad song becomes a hit.
I know, but I think when I performed,
It's got to be country, though.
my thing.
True.
You know.
Yeah.
So, but thank you for saying that. So I took the poetry from the sad stuff, and I turned it around into dance music, which, as you were saying, neuroscientifically is healing, right? Like I'm healing through my music. I'm trying to heal and uplift other people, and at the same time I'm doing that, it's healing me. So you know, and uplifting me. So
We got a couple minutes left. Alex, Lianne, talk about Unleashed. Why is that successful? Why do people like you too? Besides you neurohack and you neuro coach expert. Talk about that.
Well, I think it's just their passion. It comes back to the vision. When you're so clear on the vision, the impact you want to create, then you're driven from that, right? And just how you show up in your energy. And I'm really passionate. You know, I experienced a burnout at the top, or at what I thought was the top of my career, the peak of my career. And the biggest thing that I learned through this burnout process and this breakdown was the power that my brain had to this burnout. And once I learned about the brain and that, that we're the creator of our thoughts and our thoughts create reality. And I realized in the moment when I was burning, like my moment of breakdown, that I had all of this negative thoughts, the guilt, and this just like internal chatter that I couldn't silence. I learned after the fact on my journey to heal myself, like the power that our brains actually do play. And so it just became liberating. And as I said, I have a background in education. I've taught all over the world in international schools everywhere. And I'm like, no one's teaching this, right? Internationally, across the country, like no one's learning this. And so it just became a passion of mine to help really educate and help people understand, like you really do. It puts you back in the driver's seat and it puts you back in control when you understand what's really going on up here. And now that's what Carol and I are on, this mission to really help as many, we work mostly with women, but also helping men, because men have a lot of also limiting beliefs and don't even realize it. I think that's the reality. We don't even realize that all the stuff's operating. And now a bigger vision is I'm also writing a book for young children to support and help, as you said, Ashley, about that positivity and just like changing the dialogue. It's just like that mission of changing the dialogue. And so we do this through our podcast and helping people change the dialogue. If you change your dialogue and you understand the neuroscience behind it, you do create your results. You create you change relationships, you change your life, but just a more positive, exciting, joyful kind of way where, you do enjoy life, right? It's not this, like that heaviness. And so just to bring the joy back. Yeah.
And how do people reach out to you? Social media links.
Carol and I are both on LinkedIn and we're also on Instagram. So I'm at alex.lianne.carter. And then Carol is Carol, you always correct me because I always.
You can find me at Carol Register on Instagram or NeuroCoach Carol. And it's just short for neuroscience, NeuroCoach Carol.
And Mike, talk about which day your film is going to be shown. Most important, and how people can come down and support it at Dances with Films in Hollywood, California.
Yeah, so the film's going to be playing on Tuesday, June 25th at 5 p.m. In the Shorts Block at the Chinese theaters in Hollywood. You can go to the Dances with Films. I believe I should have had this queued up. Danceswithfilms.com, I believe, is the website. Yep, and that has all the schedule on there. It's an amazing festival with tons of amazing independent films there. So I think it's worth checking out. It's kind of one of the last big independent film festivals. It's like stayed very independent, and it's cool.
Yeah, they have some excellent films from last year. I'm still talking about it. I still want to get a couple people on because I haven't seen their films out anyplace. Give your social media links for everybody real quick.
Yep, so I'm just at Michael Freeberg. It's Friberg on Instagram. And my website is just michaelfreeberg.com. That has all my stills work and then also links to other social media and some directing work as well. So, yeah.
Howard Wiggins, social media links.
Howard Wiggins Facebook, Howard Wiggins Twitter, and I'm always on movies, reviews, and more. So
and dancing and looking sharp and whatever room number 135 he is in his mansion. Ashley Paul, I'm going to give you the last word on before I talk about some documentaries. What's next for you besides your music video that's debuting tomorrow?
Well, I actually have another song coming out called Dance You Gotta, and it's a very kind of uplifting song about, like I was saying, moving through the bluest sky, about a girl who won't wait until it's nighttime to start dancing. She's just dancing now. And the video was so cute because we made it almost like childlike. It's a little animated with some stick figures dancing, and it's kind of for every age. So I'm really excited about that one too. And I'm going to the UK in a week and a half, probably 2 weeks, to start doing festivals and prides and some lounges with all my music, performing them live. So I'm really excited about that. June, July, and August. So yeah.
And your social media links.
Oh, Instagram, official Ashley Paul. Facebook, Ashley Paul Musician page. And ashpaulmusic.com is my new website.
Which is most important. And I got to talk about some docs real quick. So this Friday, it's VIP through ASCAP at Mott Haven in Hendersonville is we're going to do the Bernie Taupert art show exhibit. Howard, I think there's 21 pieces he has. His book launches Saturday, same place, and Sunday is open to the public. And for those people do not know who Bernie is, he's Elton John's writing partner. So all those classic songs he wrote for Elton and with Elton. And he's, we're going to be doing something, since I got about 20 seconds left, Southern classic rock bands. I'm going to talk about it, even though I'm not supposed to, because I'm excited about it. It's going to be debuting here in Nashville next year. It's being built up as we're speaking. And because I went to go see it today. So Molly Hatchet, Leonard Skinner, Charlie Daniels, Leon Russell, 38 Special, you name it. And we're going to be involved with the estates doing all this stuff. It's going to be a major 3D experience. And that's all I'm going to say. And then the last thing is see the Beach Boys on Disney Plus. Excellent film, documentary, Brian Wilson, songwriting, because Ashley Paul's a singer-songwriter with strong vocals. Very, very important. You need to know how he wrote these songs and what he did with what he was doing. And then the other thing, John Bon Jovi's down here too. See, thank you and good night, John Bon Jovi on Hulu. It's a 4-part series, which is excellent. It talks about his career. No one thought he was going to go anywhere. Each time he proved them all wrong. He probably will not be touring anymore because of his throat, but it was good to see him in February at Music Cares honoring John Bon Jovi. And with that, I want to thank everybody, because it's never easy to put these things together. We got 3 of our co-hosts that didn't even make it on tonight. And so think about that. We had 9 people. It's always full. But I got to thank everybody. Ashley, Paul, congratulations. I hope you have a safe and successful trip. Michael, I hope I run into you at Dances with Films. Carol, I will run into you soon. I don't know if it'll be Tennessee or Florida, but we will see. And when I get to Canada, Alex and Ann, I will let you know. And as I always say this, have a good night tonight, a better day tomorrow. You see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours, because the world needs it. I'm Brian Sebastian, and I love those hearts. This is Movie Reviews and More, and we will see you next week.